Welcome back to Small Caps. My name's Kerry Stevenson, and it's almost Christmas, so I'm getting a little bit overexcited, ladies and gentlemen, but I thought I'd bring you an early Christmas present today, and I'm talking to Paul Savich. He's the Managing Director of WA1. Now, this is your Christmas present. It's an upcoming IPO. It's going to close pretty soon, and they've got a project over in Western Australia. It is called the West Arunta project. Here to join me and talk about it is Paul Savich, as I said, the Managing Director. Now, if you want to look at the prospectus, go and download it at wa1.com.au. That's wa1.com.au. That's where you'll find the prospectus. Download it, do your own research, make sure you understand what it is that we're talking about today. But Paul will explain why he's pretty excited as we come into Christmas. Paul, good to see you. Thanks for joining me on Small Caps.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us, Kerry. This is great.
Well, listen, you're listing just after Christmas. You've done a lot of work on WA1. So before we get into the detail of why this is actually pretty interesting as a project, give us a brief overview of who are WA1 and why you're listing just before Christmas or just after Christmas.
Yeah, no, a lot of people think we're crazy, but so WA1, it's been in the making since about 2017. We're counter-cyclical back then, looking for places that we could find meaningful copper discoveries, in Western Australia. Hence the name WA1, and so it led us to the West Arunta area. West Arunta has been a place that has really struggled to get much traction on the exploration front because it's had a challenging history from a heritage perspective. It's got two determinations over it, and it's an Aboriginal reserve, and so it's a long process to get a tenement granted out there and get access to explore. So quite hard takes a lot of dedication, pretty hard for a lot of ASX companies that have to take just a shorter term view on the world. So we've since 2017 we've been working through that process. Doing geophysical surveys over pretty much our whole tenure out there, and getting to the point where we are now that we need to raise some serious capital via the IPO to get out there and start doing some proper explorations, and which is going to include drill holes and all the more expensive stuff. So so that's how.
You mentioned a moment ago the heritage challenges and some other challenges, and that you've been working since 2017. So you coming into the IPO saying, "Listen, guys, we've done all the challenges are done. What we're now doing is looking for that discovery." Is that what you're saying, that you've spent the past 4 years getting all the ducks in order, so to speak?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're out here looking for iron oxide copper-gold deposits. And so, there's a pretty set path to search for those. And so obviously initially getting access through the heritage side of things, which is timely out here, and then going out and doing magnetic and gravity surveys, detailed surveys over your prospects. So you know exactly where you want to start looking, where you want to drill. That's what we've been doing for the last 4 years, and we've spent about 600 grand doing it. And so now next year, right now we're organising the field season for 2022. And which up there, field season opens about mid-March. And so we're just trying to get, exactly like you said, all the ducks in a row so we can hit the ground running and finally start doing what we want to do, which is putting some holes in our favourite targets to see what we can turn up.
Talk to my audience out there who are very good investors and they know the areas. It's Western Australia. Yep. Give us a view, because we don't have any maps on screen. You can find that on wa1.com.au, ladies and gentlemen. But how big is the tenement? How much work in the past has been done on it? And have those challenges that you've spoken about before, is it going to be easier for you coming in now? Like, why hasn't anyone else done as much as you have?
Yeah, sure. So the project's located on the Western Australia Northern Territory border. It's to get out there, you're either going from Alice Springs, about 9 hours drive west, or in from Port Hedland. So
Wow.
well and truly out there. But we believe the prize is big enough to warrant going out there and having a look. And like I said, what stopped a lot of people getting out there in the past is really getting access has been quite hard. But we're finding now there's a lot of activity in the region. We've got Encounter Resources hold Tenement that surrounds us. Rio Tinto has just farmed into the southern part of the West Arunta. And and there's also another company called Rincon who are out there exploring.
Oh, yeah.
So we're starting to see some real activity. We say it's the most activity the West Arunta seen since the mid-90s when BHP was out there pre-determination, and they're out there having a go, drilling a whole bunch of holes, and then left in the early 2000s when native title determination came in out there. So there's been a real hiatus since the early 2000s. Pretty limited work, and then the resurgence really happened around 2014. Agrimin Limited went out there and has been looking for potash at Lake Mackay, and started to establish relationships out there. And that's really what's opened the area for business. And so they signed their mining agreement in 2017, and that was a good indication to us that now was the right time with the Agrimin's graded the road most of the way up to our tenement. Okay. The local community just got 4G coverage as well. So there's infrastructure coming into this region that makes it possible for us to explore now. Even 5 years ago, it'd be a lot harder. But between the infrastructure, Rio Tinto coming in, and proposing a really active field season next year as well, we think all eyes are going to be on the West Arunta. We think it's got potential to emerge as WA's sort of next hottest copper exploration province.
Next hottest copper exploration. There you go. That's big words for you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you mentioned before, and I have to bring it up, there's a bit of activity out there. I think Rio Tinto are to the south of you and you're north. Is that correct? How
That's
big
right.
are your tenements?
Yep.
How much work have Rio been doing? And is it on the same structure, or are they distinctly different?
So they're all within the Aileron province, which is sort of the same rocks looking for the same deposits. What we need to do is get out there and properly understand the region. There's been such limited work done. It's really hard for us to put our hands in our hearts and tell you that. But what we do know is that where our tenement is. So Rio Tinto are exploring the southern belt, if we can call it that. It's about 180 kilometres of strike.
Okay.
So a massive package of ground. Our tenement covers three big geophysical anomalies. Patch Padra's our largest one. We're probably going to deliver most of our news flow early next year.
What was the name of that? What was that one?
Patch Padra, named after a South American salt lake.
Yes, you do. Okay.
Yes, you do. So the Patch Padra prospect is about 20 kilometres east-west. So these are massive anomalies. This is where you want to be exploring if you're going to find a potentially a tier one deposit. So big areas. Where our tenement is in the north has, like I said, Encounter have got tenements all around us, and on the West Australian side, the belt there is about 100 kilometres east-west, and that belt's only seen two historic drill holes. These are Proterozoic rocks. These are the sort of rocks of the right age that host big deposits, and this is 100 kilometres of strike, which has had two drill holes in it previously. So it just shows you how little is known about the belt, and that's why we've done all the legwork, getting the detailed geophysics out there. We want to get out there drilling, and but in the meantime, we just need to do what we can at surface to see what we can learn and better target our drill holes.
With the work that you've done so far, what's it telling you? What's it bringing up? You're talking about soil geochemistry and that sort of stuff. What's it showing you? Are you excited about what you're seeing there, or is it far too early, Kerry? We haven't even listed. I can't talk to you about that. So we've done pretty much no surface field work. We've been really focused on geophysics, and it's taken us a long time to get all the geophysics sorted. But like I said, it's a critical piece of the puzzle. So we've done that now. And so in terms of what are we seeing up there, the most relevant piece of data that we've got was Encounter's press release, or ASX release early this year. And so they drilled a hole which is very proximate to our tenement, and they drilled down. They hit basement at about 10 metres deep, which is great. We're talking, very near surface, so very shallow. So we're starting, maybe if we can find some outcrop, let's map it. Let's take some rock chips. All of a sudden, we think maybe there's a bit of work we can do at surface. This isn't the goal of Kraken that's had
it's been explored for decades, and you need to be out there drilling 1,000-meter deep holes.
Right.
This is really, it is greenfields exploration, but we're hoping it's going to be high impact because of the lack of activity it's seen. The other key part of the encounter drill hole was they saw some very distinct geochemistry. So they saw the right type of elements in there that tell you that you're hunting in the right area. If you're looking for ICG, their drill hole was exactly what you want to see come out. That's the type of drill hole you see before there's potentially a discovery made. So we keep the things we've seen tell us that we're in with a fighting chance. Now we just need to get out there and really do the work, and that's why 2022 is just going to be we're finally going to be able to get out there and do what we've been wanting to do for the last 4 years. So we are excited.
Yeah, I can sense that you're excited. A lot of IPOs this year in 2021. Do you think yours is a bit of a standout because it's been difficult in the past? There's a bit more infrastructure there at the moment. It's easier to get to. It's easier to get the further down the track, the drilling done. Do you think that's what makes you stand out? I just want to figure out for my audience out there why they should be having a look at you and what you're doing.
Yeah, look, it is different. Where there's not many greenfields exploration plays in Western Australia. This is one of the most explored places in the world. It's a tier 1 jurisdiction.
Do you know what it reminds me? Sorry to interrupt you, Paul. You know what it reminds me of? It just came to me. It was Gold Road and their Gruyere discovery. Because I remember years ago, and it was Ian Murray, and he said, look, I'm going out to Gruyere, and everyone was like, what are you doing out there? It's in the middle of nowhere. You're not going to find anything. And I remember years ago coming to the Gold Conference, we gave him Explorer of the Year. Now look at Gold Road. Are there any similarities? I mean, it's different, but
no, there are. So I mean, the Yamana was just another belt that hadn't been looked at because there were easier places to look. And what we need to do, what I need to do is go and look, where can I, where's my competitive advantage? And that's looking where others haven't looked because it's maybe too hard to get to, or they can't get heritage access. We need to play to our strengths, and we're really back in 2017. We were very structured in defining our mission, and that was to get out there and look for a meaningful copper discovery. And there's not many places you can find those. And so that was actually really helpful in helping us target where we wanted to look and differentiate. So heaps of similarities between the Gold Road story. The guys, you need to have a bit of luck, obviously, as well. But we're not going back to what you're saying. This isn't just another IPO that's happening in the gold fields, that's for sure. We're taking a very different approach, but with that comes potentially a bigger reward as well, and that's what we want to do. We just want to get out there and make a meaningful discovery, and I'm sure the share price will do the rest from there. Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking right now, and as I said to you, ladies and gentlemen, earlier, potential Christmas present, but again, do your own research. The IPO is going to close any day now, as I speak to you, and you're going to be listing sometime in January. Then talk to my my audience about what are the next steps. What is WA1 going to be doing in the first half of 2022?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So as I said, we've been really deliberate with listing at this time because field season opens in March. So there's no point us being on the boards right now. Because there's not too much we can do. So we'll hit the boards. We'll have everything lined up for our field season, which will start as soon as things cool down. Start with some mapping at surface to see, like I said, what we can see. We'll get some geochem happening, see if we can start seeing some halos around, some of our favourite targets, and anything we can do that might direct our drilling efforts. Ultimately, though, we need to get out there and we need to drill. That's how we're going to find something out there. That's how we're really going to understand, the tenement package we've got. So we'll do that as soon as we can. We understand that Rio Tinto are planning, as part of that joint venture, to be drilling sometime early next year. So there's going to be a rig in the region. We understand that also that Rincon and Encounter are planning to do some work out there as well. So infrastructure, rigs going to be coming into the region. That's great. I think any exploration success is going to reflect well on all the players out there. We can almost see this as just as one region where everyone's looking for an indication that we're all onto something. And so, I don't think it's just going to be limited to WA1 having drilling success that's going to be reflected positively, hopefully, in the share price. The region's going to be on the map. So, I think that's what's going to probably get people, focused and excited as well.
Well, I have to say, when you see that Rio is spending, close to 60 million on exploration in the area, you've got to just turn around and say, well, they're not stupid. They've got to think that there's something around, and it might be different, but it's the same similarity of rocks.
Yeah, and and they are. They're out there looking in similar rocks for similar deposits. There's been two big validating events over the last 12 months for us since we started working through this IPO process. We priced the IPO. It's going to be a $4 million EV, about a $10 million market cap on listing. And since we decided that was how we're going to pursue things, Rio Tinto's farmed in. We've got Encounter that have drilled that hole. These are massive validating events for what we're doing out there. In our eyes, our prospects, our targets have always been worthy of going out there and exploring. But third-party validation is always a really great thing as well. So it's certainly been helpful. So
again, let's do some numbers around this a little bit, Paul, because I love numbers. So you're raising how much? 4.5?
Yeah, 4.5 to 6 we're going out for. Yep.
4.5 to 6, 20-cent IPO, listing in January, and the funds will be spent on what?
Out at the West Arunta primarily. We've got 2 other projects which we're taking through to grant and heritage negotiations at the moment. Like I said, that's
well, you're going to have to come back another time and tell me about that, because we're running out of time for this one.
No worries.
Christmas is coming, because I know you've got another couple of projects, but your focus is West Arunta at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what's going to drive the news flow, and that's what's going to drive the share price ultimately as well. So we're focused there. We're not talking about the others. That's next year's problem. There's some value there, but largely, what are we spending the money on? It's going to be out in the field this year, and ultimately drilling. Just as we've got an EIS grant as well, the co-funding grant from the government. 150 grand grant, direct drilling. It's not that much, but there's an independent panel that assess where they put those grants as well. And so again, that little bit of independent validation that we're out there drilling the right targets. So. We need to use that by November, but we're going to use it a lot sooner than that, we hope. But that's where all the money's going to be ultimately going to the West Arunta. Yeah.
So it is plenty of news flow coming up, ladies and gentlemen. And as Paul said right at the beginning, this is a whole new province. It's kind of like Gold Road when they were out there in the Yamana belt all those years ago, and look at what they did for their shareholders. I'm not saying that WA1's going to do that straight away, but it's a new province. Lots of activity out there. Paul, we're run out of time. Just give our investor audience, they know I like to end up like this, 3 reasons why they should be sitting up and taking notice of WA1 as you go to your IPO listing.
Yeah, sure. Just like you said, I mean, the Yamana is a really good example. We believe that the West Arunta region has potential to emerge as a really hot copper exploration region in WA. So where else better to be and to put some of your funds? We've been working hard for 4 years now, and we're finally at the point where we can get out there and start doing some proper work. So we're pumped about that side as well. And we've put together a good management team, guys that have transacted in the past, added serious value in the past. So we think we've got the right guys out there looking for the right commodity in the right jurisdiction at the right time. So we're, 2022 is going to be really exciting for us. It's been quite a process getting through the IPO, as I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate. But now the real work's going to start, and we've got more energy than we've had. So we're looking forward to getting out there.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Go and support somebody who's doing something a little bit different in greenfields and a new province, potentially looking for those big IOCG deposits and getting on with the job. They've done some hard work. Last 4 years, they've been out there making sure that they can get through those challenges before they come to the boards, which will be sometime in January. So go and download the prospectus at wa1.com.au. And I'm sure if you want to just reach out to Paul, he can answer any questions. But hopefully we've answered most of the questions today. Paul Savich, Managing Director of WA1, all the best. Have a happy Christmas, and all the best for 2022, a busy one for you.
Yeah, no, thanks, Kerry. I think this has actually been a bit of fun. So we'll see you again soon.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Come back in 22 once you've listed and you've done a couple of drill holes, and let us know how you're doing out there.
A bit more notice next time. I'll even get a haircut. So sure thing.
Cheers.